Dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun.
Shout out to Arwen.
Yeah, shout out to Arwen.
Hey, did you guys like my little live stream yesterday? I think I did okay, right?
Yeah, I did.
Jose,
I was being goofy, yeah.
could you tell me your channel name again, please?
Jose Gonzalez.
Jose JG Gonzalez.
JG.
Yeah, Jose Gonzalez, and in between those two, you put JG.
Yeah, all right, because you said it last time, and I tried to remember. I looked for it, and I couldn't find it. But all right, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't know if tomorrow, maybe I'll go out to test the P900, see what I'm gonna get. Exciting.
You
Yeah,
got
have
it
fun with
already?
that, man. Seriously.
You got the P900 already, Jose?
Yeah, I got it on hand. I did a video yesterday unboxing it. Be like 20, 25 minutes. It was fun. I had like 16 people watching. Couple characters in there like Nathan, Riley, DRTRS, Jaron were watching. It was fun.
Jaron was in there as well, though, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was there.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, nice one. Have fun, and be sure to share footage.
Yes, sir, indeed. That's the whole idea.
Don't, sir. You know where that comes from? Slave I Remain. They tricked him and they gave him the title.
Yes, sir means slave I remain.
Yeah, it's pure BS. It's a joke
Wow.
on us again.
Say that again. What does it mean?
Slave I Remain. So you were a
I've heard that
sir,
before.
but you were still just a turd.
Oh, let me change that. Yes, master. Worst.
No, we are the masters. We just got to act it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm just going to get a drink. Or are we going to end this or what? Or
No,
how does this work?
No, this is another show.
Hey,
Should
let's
be.
all remember in the next few days the new moon is coming. So
Yes, definitely. I was
what we
thinking
need to do is
about.
we need to tell everybody, go and find
Yeah. I was thinking about doing a pre-new moon clip and telling friends and shit and people to do it on Instagram. And yeah, because I've done it myself and I couldn't even see what do you call it, picture sound. You know, there's just nothing.
We should do that like every month.
Yeah, we should.
Like,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
we
try to
should
find
tell,
it.
like we should
Rewards,
really
like-
push it.
Missing moon and shit like that.
agreed.
Yeah.
Anthony,
Everybody
what,
that can show
what
the
were
moon.
you
I'm gonna get a drink.
what were you saying to do with your camera when you were trying to catch the new moon?
Nobody
Well,
see the new moon.
you're not going to catch it. So for instance, right now, yesterday I caught the moon because I had clear skies. So I took some shots of the moon. But today I've got cloudy skies, but the moon is still up in the sky. So on the East Coast right now, for me, the moon is directly above me. So the North American continent is going to have a moon all day long. And if you think about where the moon is
Hold
right
on,
now,
hold on,
then in
Anthony. Did you get that guy that's just joined and dropped?
Hello.
Oh, it's just a phone drop.
Yay.
No worries.
Thank you.
Arwen, what's up, man?
Yeah, my internet had a serious crack. Like my internet goes through the electricity net, and there's two connectors, and sometimes they get disrupted. I don't know why. It's just interruption noise. Whatever.
Maybe a
And
shark
now-
bit the cable. Maybe.
No, it works really well, but
Okay.
now, yeah, when I try.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live, and there's also a PayPal link in the info box below the video. Most importantly though, if you would like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. Now we are joined by, let's bring the names up, there's lots of new people in. So we are joined by Sleeping Warrior, Spurs Chemo, The Plain Truth, Klaus, Earth Flattener, Peanuts Clark, Flat Earth Vegan Goy, Jose, and Arwin. Good to have you all.
Good afternoon.
Greetings.
I might have accidentally stole Chocolate Satan's place when his phone dropped.
Oh, I can go back out. I don't got that much to say. I was just interested in about the Bar Association and the Freemasons for Anthony. I'd like to talk about that sometime, but I can drop off. Let Chuck.
No. I'd love to talk about that now if you're willing.
Yeah,
no, you chat. I'll drop.
No one has to drop. There's no one kicking the door in.
Everybody
to come
drop
in, so.
right now.
Yeah. Travis was trying to explain something.
Well, I was just going to try to...
I could swap places with him.
I was just going to try to point out the fact that, you know, the moon is directly above me right now. And if we think in the fact that the moon is not going to change so significantly in the sky in the next few days, that when it's new moon, it's still up in the sky, but we can't see it. So that's the issue for us, is to try to figure out, you know, what it is and why is it that we can't see it. But I was out shooting the moon yesterday, and there's a woman out with her camera as well. She was filming the sunrise, and I pointed out to her that significance about the moon and the new moon coming up, and she said, well, thanks a lot. Thanks for giving me something else to think about.
Well, let's not be dainted by what the official explanation is. The official explanation, of course, is that we don't see the new moon because the sun's too bright. But the new moon is supposed to still be in the sky. So the only point where you're not meant to see it is the point where the moon is right in front of the sun. All the other times, it's not in front of the sun, and we should be seeing a crescent.
It's an angle, right? Right.
Yeah, we should be. Yeah, and we don't see one for between 3 and 4 days.
Well, that's what I'm saying in terms of what we're seeing right now. It's in the sky at a particular degree and angle. The degree and angle is not going to change so significantly in the next few days that when it's a new moon, it shouldn't be visible anymore. So that's the anomaly.
I've been saying this for such a long time, and it's like people don't realize that this missing evidence is a massive, massive problem. It's a hole in there. And you know what that guy's saying is, if you have a model and it doesn't match the experimentation doesn't match real world or whatever it is, it's wrong. I can't remember the exact phrase, but that
if it doesn't agree with experiment, then it's wrong.
Yeah. So the moon goes missing for 3 to 4 days. On their model, the explanation is dog shit. Listen to it when they tell you about it, and then ask yourself: does that explain what we don't see? And the answer, of course, is no. We should see it, and if we don't see it, we should see a crescent, because we are not seeing it perpendicular behind the sun, like totally blocked by the sun. We should see an angle. We should see a crescent, and we don't see it. Nobody sees it anywhere on the Earth. Why? I don't know what the reason is, but what I know what is not happening is what we're told. We're not being told the moon's not passing in front of the sun or near to the sun. If anything, it appears to be passing behind it. And I've said it for years. All right, I get laughed at. But where is the moon? Why can't we see it?
Well, to Michael Bomer, says Feynman said that. Absolutely right. Well done, Michael.
And the other thing, of course, both Jaren and Bob from Globebusters said the same thing on Sunday. If you missed the show on Sunday, I said I felt that the moon went behind the sun. And Jaren says, I agree. And Bob said, I agree. So sure, we can argue about gravity and whether something's up or down or whatever, but let's look at the obvious things. Where's the sun? Sorry, where's the moon?
Anybody? Anybody at all? Anybody know where that moon went? New moon stage? No?
Just another hole.
hole.
What
I
hole?
will find it with my
I have a
P900.
suggestion. Look, if it is holographic in nature, as we can assume since there is light at least involved and has a relation to observer, well, if during the new moon the moon just disappears, then one can assume that the projection, if it is coming from a source, and it would be hard to assume it's not, is being blocked out. So there's no more apparent image projecting itself into view because the source of that projection is being blocked out, like a whole lid closing.
I'm just
And
gonna.
it's not similar to an eclipse because that's not, I guess, not entirely closing. It's more like a disk waving in front of it or whatever, apparently, right? But yeah, if the moon's gonna just completely disappear, then maybe the entire source of that specific light is being cut off, being blocked off.
If it's there, we should be able to capture it with our cameras, right?
Yeah, but you, as I said, you can't really. Even if you change the filters and stuff on footage, you will never see that there's something that you can't see. You know what I mean? What do you call it? Picture sound.
Yeah, that's ridiculous, man.
Well, Aaron Raw states that he has seen the new moon.
Yeah.
I've seen unicorns as well.
Anthony, do you know why they call it a new moon?
Well, it's the cycle. It's in regards to the cycle, isn't it? It's the point where it passes the sun, and from our perspective, it starts its new lunar cycle.
Can you mute your watch page, Ben?
Yeah, you have to realize that
That's a bit of fun job.
the moon is the measurement of monthly cycles. So it's the end of a month, it's the beginning of the month. So the new moon is the new cycle of the month.
It makes you wonder whether
Month is derived from that cycle.
If you watch what actually happens as we lose the moon before that new moon starts, it fades to black. Not black. It fades to nothing. It fades to like a transparent nothingness, as if it loses its power. You know, like it gets flat batteries and the candle goes dimmer in it. It's as if it loses its light. Now it's supposed to go out by crescent. We're supposed to see a terminator line, and it gradually removes it and removes it and removes it to the point where you can no longer see it. But that doesn't happen. What actually happens is it gets dimmer and dimmer and dimmer, as though, remember in the 80s when we all had the dimmer switch in the dining room and you could turn it up and down by increments? That's what the moon does. It seems to fade out to nothing, as if someone's turned the volume down on it and it just goes dimmer. That doesn't make sense. We should see a crescent, and it should be right up to the point of totality. Okay, you can have 5, maybe 10 hours where the angle might be too narrow, but ultimately we should see that crescent, right? And the moon shouldn't disappear the way it does. It should disappear by crescent, and it doesn't. It disappears by losing its energy. It's almost like it runs out of petrol. So that's another explanation that needs to be there. Why does it disappear that way?
It's a lot of physicality you're tying in there. I'd say my explanation is more logical.
Well, let's not hypothesize what it might be. Let's concentrate on what it's not, because these things are an issue for the bald earth believers, because it doesn't make sense.
No. Well, if you're gonna assume it's a physical rock in outer space, yeah, it absolutely makes the least sense, the observations, compared to their model. Nothing of it makes sense. It's surreal, entire thing.
Well, it's a very strange place too, because I worked in a hospital for a time, and always on a full moon, you can be sure that the emergency room is going to be packed, and this doesn't make a lot of sense, whatever it is.
Yeah, the police also say that a full moon brings out all the idiots. When the moon's out, the full moon's out, there seems to be a spike in crime, and they correlate that with the phrase lunatic.
The moon controls a lot more than just that. There's entire books about what to do when the moon is at what, you know.
Well, and we saw that the producer of the Truman Show, he lived in the moon, didn't he?
Yep. But there's no one on that moon.
Well, we don't have any evidence there is, that's for sure.
Hey, Warren.
So, Anthony, I just wanted to. You're looking to become a lawyer, right?
No, I've done the training for that years ago. I'm not looking to become a lawyer.
Oh, because I was just gonna bring up because the only way you become a lawyer is you join the bar, and once you're in the bar, unless you're a Freemason, you're just not going to go anywhere. And they are definitely the gatekeepers of the
You don't
flat
join
Earth.
the bar to be a lawyer in England. You only join the bar to be a barrister. The difference to lawyers, we call lawyers and solicitors the same thing. You guys call lawyers what we call solicitors. But we have barristers, which I'm sure you guys have. But they're the only ones that join the bar. So there's a difference in the systems between the American system and the English system.
Yeah, well, we have something over here called attorneys. We actually don't have lawyers. We just have attorneys. They call themselves lawyers. Lawyers would be on the common law, but there is no common law. It's just taught in the schools that we have common law. It's taught in the schools that there's a constitution, but in reality, it's an admiralty jurisdiction, and you have your attorneys that are running a Freemason racketeering scheme. In my opinion, that's only hearsay, of course.
Nathan, if I
why would you say that the Freemasons are the?
Sorry, say again, Anthony.
If I send you the time for where Globebusters and basically where Bob and Jaren both said that they also think that the moon goes behind the sun. I mean, I'm not saying it definitely does, but it's not what we see is not consistent with the moon passing in front of the sun. If I send you the time thing, do you want to just play that clip where they both admit it? And it's not the case of, oh, look, they've got you or we've got you, but it's more a case of, hey, they can see that the evidence doesn't support the official narrative, right? We know the moon is there, but for some reason it's not getting any light. And the explanation on the heliocentric model is nonsense. So you're left with one of two options, right? It either runs out of its light because it needs to be recharged in some way and it's run out of juice, or it goes behind the sun and the sun's receiving its light, and that's why we can't see it, because there's no angle anymore. Not because it's passing in front of the sun.
There's always more than two possibilities.
Well, there might be three or four, but I mean, the most logical ones are often the best ones, right? And yeah, you could go all cosmological and epistemological, but let's be real. The moon is in the sky, but for some reason we can't see it.
Avoid making claims.
Yeah. Well, we can
Wouldn't
claim
you
that
see
it's
the
not doing
moon
what they're
even
telling
if
us
it
it's
was
doing.
behind the sun?
I think it goes behind the sun. I've said
Yeah,
it
but
many
wouldn't
times.
you see it then for 3 days? Because it can't take 3 days to go just behind the sun, right?
No, I think it goes behind the sun, but the sun's not a ball. I think the sun's a focal point, and I think the focal point is, like, from our perspective, it's on the underside, but we're not seeing the other side of it. You have to be on the opposite side of the sun to see it. But that makes most sense to explain why the sun disappears. The moon disappears.
Why is it called new moon? Maybe the old one dies.
No, well, I went over that just a second ago. I'll repeat it. It's because I believe, the sun measures our day, measures our hours, and the moon measures the month. So it's a new month, new moon month. It's all a play on words. It's a new measurement of time.
The moon was put there so we could understand where the women are.
Nathan,
when it's dark, where they're all hiding in the dark, you mean?
No, how they're gonna be treating you at a specific time. You can look at the moon and guarantee that that time of the month, at that time of the moon, every month, it's going to be about the same.
Citation, please.
The way to describe it, or the best way for me to describe what goes on with the moon, when you do hand puppets on the wall, you've got a light, and then you do hand puppets on the wall. And imagine that instead of the sun, obviously the light in the room would be the sun. Instead of the moon passing between the sun and the wall, creating that shadow, imagine it goes on the other side where you can't make the hand puppet because there's no wall for it to go on. It would lose the light of the sun, and that seems to be what's happening. I'm not saying it is, but what I am saying is that the evidence that we see for the new moon is not consistent with the heliocentric model at all. It's complete nonsense. We should see a fading crescent that gets slimmer and slimmer and slimmer because the terminator line gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And the only time really that we shouldn't see it, 5 to 10 hours whilst it's transiting the sun. Even considering the ecliptic plane, when it's not on the perfectly lined with the sun, we still should see that crescent. It should be in the sky.
What's the timestamp?
From 2 hours, 29 minutes. Exactly. Just play it from there.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, Anthony, and I think it was either back in the early summer months where I got on the show and was talking about the fact that my Skyview app was showing me that the moon
that's on our side, and we're looking at the back side of the moon. That's only true whilst it's transiting the point where the sun and the moon pass. For the rest of the time, we should see a crescent, and it should be a crescent that points to where the sun is, because that's apparently the reflected sunlight. But for 3 to 4 days at new moon phase, nobody sees it, and the explanation for it is a joke. So when it comes round in the next couple of weeks to the new moon, keep your eye on it. Watch for the new moon period. Nobody will see the moon anywhere on the plane, not just where you live. It's everywhere. Nobody sees it. And why? We should see it because there should be some crescent of the sunlight getting the side of the moon that is not directly behind. We should see it.
Yeah,
but the explanation you give is because it's not receiving enough, and it's nonsense.
What if the moon goes behind the sun?
That's my view. I think it goes behind the sun.
I think
I do too.
I've said it many times.
That's
and I
3
get
of us.
laughed. Yeah. Just because, again, like you said, it makes more sense when you do see that first sliver. It's as if it came around the sun, and it took 2 or 3 days until it got to a point where it starts to get some of the light. So yeah, and you say that, and people will think you're insane. And so that's where it should be okay. Bob and I have talked about this many times and gone back and forth about that, and we may disagree. Sometimes we agree, but we're open to that conversation. And like you said earlier, that everything is open. Once you realize that you've been lied to on this level, then all things are possible, and they just need to be ran past our observations to see which ones match. And
yeah, we're done, Nathan.
It's just like
that's basically Bob and Jaron both admitting that they think that it might go behind as well. And that doesn't mean that it does go behind. It just means that the evidence is more consistent for it going behind than it is for it passing in front, because there's no crescent. And it shouldn't fade to nothing. It should be there. And there should be a big terminator line that gets littler and littler every day. And then maybe for 10 hours or so whilst it transits. But that we don't see that. It just disappears. And it's like, now we accept it's in the sky. We know it's in the sky because we like pretty much prove that it is there, but we can't see it.
Right. Well, my point that I'm trying to make right now is that the moon is ahead of the sun if we just think in terms of linear, okay? If you take your Skyview app or whatever app you're looking at, the moon and the sun are not close together right now. So the sun is almost, in a way, chasing the moon. So that's going to be the same trajectory that we're going to see over the next few days. I don't think the sun is going to catch up with the moon so that we can say the moon is behind the sun. I don't think they're going to catch up to each other in this cycle. The point I was trying to make earlier about my observations late spring or early summer was that at that month, the new moon was directly in line with the sun. And that's why I called into the show and said, why aren't we having an eclipse right now? Because my Skyview app is showing me that the moon and the sun are directly aligned.
Well, you watch now. Everybody can watch this for the next couple of days. You'll see that the sun gradually catches the moon up. And then eventually it overtakes it. Now, all right, relatively speaking, they say it's not the sun catching up the moon, you moron. It's the spin of the earth and the orbit of the moon. It doesn't matter. The point is that what we see is the sun catches up the moon, and then eventually it'll overtake it, and you can anticipate it by virtue of how close it gets. Problem is, you don't actually see the race. You don't see the sun overtaking it because the moon goes missing. And then it's only 3 days later, 2 to 3 days after the transition, that we see it again. But it's bizarre. You can literally, all of you go out the window, look out the door, watch the sun and the moon catch each other up, and then it never overtakes. And then the next time you see the moon, it's miles away from it in the sky. It's like, where's it been all that time? And nobody sees it.
Well, Jose would be a good guy to go to right now. Jose, you should be able to see the moon. If you've got clear skies, it's up.
Just want to do a quick shout out to Cynical Skeptic for the super chat. Thank you very much indeed. And there was another one, I'm sure there was. Bear with me a second. Howard, thank you very much indeed also for the super chat. Really appreciate it.
Shout out to FaZe in chat trolling me.
Should it be possible to see the moon at the same time in Oz, Australia, and Sweden?
Not right now, I don't think, because it's directly over the North American continent. So I don't think you guys are going to have a moon right now.
Because someone posted a video on YouTube where the moon was visible in those 3 locations, and someone posted a video of the sun being seen in Oz, Australia, and the UK at the same time as well.
Hey, I got an idea, guys. Why not try to track it with infrared? You know,
You can't.
Yes,
it goes out of view.
there's a
doesn't it?
body out there.
Somebody with an infrared P900 or an infrared
I
1000.
thought somebody already tried that.
I don't know. Anybody with an infrared P900 or an infrared P1000, try and track the sun and the moon at new moon phase. And I don't think you'll see any infrared light coming from the moon. It'll just be a black disk that's just basically there's no light coming from it, and we should see light from it.
Yeah, but
I see the moon right now
we'll still
almost
see the
like
disc,
a
and
noon.
that's the point. Will we still see the disc, or will we see nothing?
Well,
That's
when we that's how I met Chris Monk. When we were in Sun and Moon group chatting away, we got them all to send us photographs of that eclipse in North America a couple of years back, and we couldn't see any evidence that there was a moon there. Obviously, Soundly pops up with Earthshine. Boom, boom. Soundly, the miracle worker that he is. He laughed. But don't forget, told everybody that he didn't take any he didn't take any pictures at Total of Earthshine because he didn't have enough space on his SD card. 2 weeks later, he pops up with Earthshine. But the point that we were trying to do was trying to establish whether or not the parallax was right. But what we realized is that there was no evidence of the moon in the picture, and we couldn't get any evidence for it. So it was like, what's going on here? And we don't really know what's going on, but that's how I met Chris. But we concluded that we couldn't prove that the moon was even in front of the sun, let alone it was doing the same level of parallax, which we admitted that the parallax was right. But where's the moon? Why can't we see it? And it makes no sense.
Well, that's part of why I would say to use something like Skyview app, because they've got the algorithms in there to show you where the moon is, even if you can't see it. They're showing you where it is, because everything else they can plot out. All of the other lights in the sky, all of the supposed Hubble telescopes and other satellites, they've got them all plotted out. When you use the Skyview app, when you point it at your feet, you see these constellations and supposed satellites that are on the other side of the world. They have it all plotted out.
Yeah, so antipode is underneath your feet, right?
According to the Skyview app, yeah.
Jared?
Hello?
Is Jared there?
No, we were playing a clip. That's why you heard Jaren's voice.
Oh, fuck.
No swearing, please.
He got excited.
I did.
Anthony, you know that the ballers are going to expect you to know what's happening with the moon if you make that claim.
I've made the claim before and they've ridiculed it off, but I keep making it because I don't believe that what they're telling us is the explanation for the evidence that we don't see.
Just present the failure of their explanation and don't make claims.
Yeah, and I might ask
how about some scientific proof?
Yeah.
Explanations are all very nice, but how about some actual proof?
Agreed.
You're a liar, Nathan. Just playing with that. I was playing Pete Mara.
Yeah, I miss P.
Don't say that.
Assertions without evidence is what I live for.
Well,
he annoys me.
Yeah, I don't really understand the southern accent.
I banned him. I have no interest in that guy.
Yeah, he's a dick.
Agreed.
Just do another shout out to What About Bob? I was playing this video earlier. I don't know if you guys caught it, but he was just basically lowering and raising his camera and making his rug disappear and the feet of a cutout of a woman. So, I don't know if you caught that while I was playing it.
No, I didn't see that one.
No?
But agree to the shout out. And it is that simple. Anyone can do it. iPhone,
Nathan,
especially
so
easy because the camera's on the side. Just do it. It does it.
It's so simple, Nathan, that it goes right over their head, man.
Exactly. You can do it on a bendy bridge as well. You know, do it on something bendy, do it on something flat, and you'll see what happens. It's
We
just
need to give
so
these
stupid.
schools. We need to give these schools P1000s and let these kids go out and figure out stuff for themselves. I mean, a 5-7-year-old can go out and figure this out.
And that's what annoys me about giving the children answers that aren't correct or true. You know, you're spoiling true science in giving them some BS explanation when maybe one of them could actually figure it out.
That's why it's called programming, and it's programming in the school, and then they watch programming on TV. It's all programming. No education there at all.
Agreed.
Hope to be a baller.
But another thing that you can nicely point out concerning the moon is the eclipse shadow. The lunar eclipse shadow we see, it really is not doable using two spherical objects. You can go outside, do it in the sun, use the sun as an actual light source, you know, and the shadow will not cast the way we see it. I like pointing that out and sending them to look at my footage, just so that they can see for themselves it doesn't look the same.
What we need to do, though, is give them all these cameras, because all videos and books and stuff that people claim are evidence for every kind of thing we can imagine, that's not evidence. It's hearsay at best. So we need to take people out, give them a camera, let them film the Chicago skyline from across in Michigan and the bridge in New Orleans for themselves. And then it's not hearsay anymore. We're not counting on 66 books to prove that there's a man in the sky. I'm not saying there is or isn't. So.
The problem is, though,
agreed.
Same thing, and then somehow we'll get Earthshine or he'll get Bendy Water, but nobody else will get it, but Soundly will get it, and it'll be just accepted by the ballers without any critical thought whatsoever that nobody else gets it. I just find that nonsense.
And it's a curve that makes the so-called ball be the size of Disney World. It's ridiculous.
It's the same though with the ISS. I mean, every one of us that has a P900 probably does his little ISS things, and you know, Sly will have clean footage of the ISS, and it's like, are you kidding me? I've got a lunar transit ISS. It's an orb. It's nothing more, nothing less. Yes, something did actually transit the moon, but it could be. What are we talking about? You know, what does it prove? Absolutely sod all.
You could certainly throw a hologram across the sky if you had if you had enough power, and we don't know what kind of power is out there or not. I'm not claiming it happens, but when we open our eyes to the possibilities of anything, then anything is possible.
I always like to remember the possibility that maybe it is actually something that is part of our timepiece, which is the sky, that came naturally, and they know how it moves, so they just fake the ISS. Because did they actually say they were going to build? Does anyone remember them making a big deal out of the whole build and everything?
No, but I have looked up at the night sky myself to see the ISS, and there is definitely something up there.
Yeah, there's something there, a white, bright star that moves like a plane across.
It's more than that. It does have shape and form to it that looks like the International Space Station.
You got footage of that? Because mine all... You need a lot of fantasy to see a shape to it.
No, that's not true. I can show you footage of that. Give me one sec.
Yeah, I've actually seen. I met a guy, and he showed me photographs of what he's taken, and it actually looks kind of defined.
Yeah.
Does it?
Yeah, it's not just a light. You can actually. It
Do
actually
you
looks
see the
defined.
tent module?
This, what I'm about to show you is one of the reasons why I'm in Flat Earth. Because when I find it, give me a sec. I'll just talk to you while I look for it. It's the reason why I approached Red's Rhetoric, because I asked him to explain how this is possible. If it's a flying tin can, and what he managed to do was get a 3D software that had the ISS in 3 dimensions, and you could rotate it in all directions.
Yeah.
He basically managed to get, or somebody on his panel, I'm not sure who, but somebody was able to get the orientation absolutely perfect to match my own picture. And I was like, shit. Because initially I was like, there's no way this is the ISS. But what he did cleverly, and credit to him, he used my own evidence against me. And I was like, shit, that makes it possible. Now, I'm not saying that it is, but when somebody uses your own evidence against you and shows that, hey, this could be explained, and then they explain it.
Yeah, no, fair enough, fair enough.
So can you see my screen now?
Yeah, yep.
Now, this was one of about 16, 17, 18 pictures that was taken on my telescope. Now when I looked at that, I said, there's no way that's the International Space Station. Because it doesn't look like it. But he did manage to get it to match it perfectly. And what was even worse was what he managed to do was the imagery that he had, it had the Soyuz capsule attached to it.
Yeah.
Now,
really? But that's what I mean, exactly.
The Soyuz capsule's tiny, right? But apparently we were looking at the Soyuz capsule on it. Now, I don't really believe that the Soyuz capsule, whatever, But whatever it was, he managed to match it. And I thought for about 6 months that maybe the ISS was real and what they were doing was real. But then there's a preponderance of evidence, and we all laugh at it now. But when I was a baby flat earther, that kind of put me back by 6 months what he did. But that definitely does look, well, you can get it to match. Now, let me just show you this picture so that you can see when I originally... Oh, shit. Oh, I can't now. I've lost it. I'll just tell you the date that I took it. Here we go.
Hey, Eric. Hear us?
The date I took it was... oh, I don't think the date's on it anymore. No, I don't have the original date on it anymore. It must be.
Yeah, no worries. It's just it looks nothing like what I've got, but equally as proof of nothing.
Yeah, I'm happy with it being proof of nothing, but I was just gobsmacked. He was able to orientate it exactly to match, and I was gobsmacked. But it didn't make me a believer.
Fanboy Premium Club.
Did Eric say something?
No.
No.
I don't think we've heard from... Oh, we did. Hey, Eric.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Good to have you.
Hi.
Cheers, everyone.
So where are we at? Forgot where we're at.
Dismantling the moon.
I agree with you, Anthony. That's kind of similar to what just the photos that this guy showed me that he took. And it does look defined.
Yeah, it does look like there might be some shape there, but that doesn't mean there's humans in it.
Correct.
I think it's more likely that they've probably found a way to put something up there to do particular tasks and call it. It could be described as satellite, but there's definitely no people on it. Because the amount of water, I mean, the biggest reason for me why the ISS is fake is because the amount of water that as a human being you've got to consume roughly per day between 5 and 7 liters. Well, however many staff there are on that International Space Station, that's an awful lot of water that they've got to send up there somehow. And obviously they can't do that because the weight of water is huge. But they need that to drink. And no one ever thinks about it. But if there's, say, 7 astronauts every day and 7 liters, 7 sevens, 49, that means you need 50 liters of water, and that's just for them to drink. That's before they even get to go in the toilet and whatnot.
Yeah, but they drink their pee-pee.
Yeah. Well, they say they drink the piss, but I don't think they do.
I hope they do.
Where's all the skin and hair follicles in it?
The smell alone would be horrendous.
If I can screen share, I'd show you my ISS pictures.
That'd be great. Yes, please.
You have to guide me through this.
So top left of the Hangout, if you're on are you on a PC?
Yeah.
Yeah, top left, wave your mouse over the Hangout screen.
Yeah.
Yep, and then just select application window, it's the right-hand tab, and then pick on whatever it is that's displaying that picture.
You are screen sharing.
Base.
Yes?
Yeah, and then just go to whatever it is you want to show.
Yeah.
There we go, got it up, brilliant.
So this was a zoomed from the lunar transit. See, there's the ISS coming into. There's it going out, and I mean, what is that? That is,
It's
a dot.
Yeah. That was one of my pictures. That was one. That's one. And there, I mean, you can see that it's kind of squarish, I guess. There's another one.
Maybe it's a bat.
Is it a bird?
There
is it a plane?
Remember?
Oh yeah, definitely a bat.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Brenda should have deleted it because it looks like a bat.
Please don't say her name.
Okay, so couldn't this be the way that his camera is processing the image? Couldn't this be the way the camera is doing it?
Well, you can want. No, I wouldn't have said so. No.
Okay.
I mean, it could be if you want to make excuses, but why should we have to make excuses?
Exactly. I mean, what is this? This is proof of nothing. This is proof of something actually being there. But what is that? The ISS, 17,500 miles, Mach 22, falling around, an oblate spheroid.
Cool. Thank you for sharing those. That's much
No worries. No worries.
Hey, I have a question. If we look at traditional art, like especially let's say Chinese, which is the culture is very rooted in lunar calendar. Why is there no art representing these details with these craters? Like, is this a more? I find it intriguing.
Good question.
I don't know. They were more iconography. They use icons or they stylize.
Graphic, yeah.
They stylized a lot of things.
Yeah, no. I mean, traditional Asian art isn't. They never really had like a renaissance with all the color and whatnot. Very charcoal. I mean, look at traditional Asian art. But like when they draw bamboo and goldfish, it's very detail oriented. But then the moon is it's just kind of like a sun in the sky. There's no. I've never found any traditional art with details.
Objects like bamboo, you can actually study up close, get the feel of it, understand what it is you're looking at, study it spiritually, and then try to translate your findings and the capture of that spirit into a representation like a painting.
Yeah, I don't know if that explains why there's no traditional art with these details that we see today.
Well, you can't do that with the moon because you can't grab it and touch it and all that.
Hey guys.
But we have drawings that are old of it. It's true.
Maybe they just got, it's just a light, whatever.
Go on, chocolate.
I'm gonna drop out, open up a spot for somebody else since I've been on for a while. Anthony, thank you for what you're doing. I hope it goes well, even if it doesn't. I think we'll still learn something.
Well, I mean, I'm not sure it will. I think they might find a way for me not to do it, but I'm still going to do it anyway, even if they say, I don't think you'll pass, because this is the reason why I'm there. I'm not there to pass. I'm there to challenge. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. So hopefully it'll go the way I want it to go, but if it doesn't, I'm still going to do it anyway.
Well, you got my respect, man. Children are being lied to every day, and you're trying to do something about it.
Yeah, I'm just doing my bit, man. I'm trying.
Thank you. Thank you, Nathan, for the show. Arwen,
thanks for joining.
What?
Yeah,
I'm always good.
Riley or Anthony, I don't know. I call you Anthony. I'm very, very much interested in what you're doing now. I'm kind of leaning that way. Well, I've always looked at education very deeply and been irritated by it.
Yeah.
Hey, P.
By the way, John Taylor Gatto, I think some of you might be familiar.
Hello.
Like a week ago.
What kind of pizza have we got today? Have we got dickhead pizza or have we got the normal pizza?
We're having a lot of fun over here in the chat. A couple of folks have some really good evidence that the man in the sky exists because of some books, 66 books. It's excellent evidence that they have, but I can go watch some videos to prove the book. So I'm looking forward to that evidence. I'm not making any claims that there is a man in the sky or Jesus is God or anything. I have no idea because I don't have evidence.
Base everything on evidence, and there's not a lot of things you know.
Agreed, but who needs it?
Because I know to trust my intuition, although I often don't get where it's leading me.
Avoid making claims.
Now I'm being called a pervert by MG2 Pillocks. So that's great. That's the Christian way, isn't it? There, Pillocks.
Pervert? Is that what you just said? You're being called pervert?
Yeah, MG4 Pillocks. It says vegan goy is a pervert who claims his own religion as other claims. I have no life, B-E-L-I-E, lie. I have no belief. I have no knowledge of God. If there is a God, if there isn't a God, I don't make any claims. I have no evidence. Once I get evidence, if I ever get evidence, then maybe I will have some kind of knowledge. But right now, I do
Agnostic, that's
not
what it's called,
know.
agnostic.
I'm agnostic. That's my claim. I have no idea, but I don't have anything against any creator if there is one. I just have no evidence there is right now. Someone's calling. So anyway, anyway, MG Pillox, thank you for calling me a pervert. I really appreciate that. Do you have any evidence of that?
He's explaining it. He said, "You're the one making a claim for a man in the sky appeared. That is called perversion." So okay, now he's going from pervert to perversion.
I gotcha. Yeah, I never even made a claim that there's a man in the sky. I have no idea. Maybe there's a man in the sky. Maybe there's a man in heaven. Maybe there's a God in heaven. I have no idea. I have no clue.
Look through.
All we can all
Last
say with
dimension.
absolute confidence is that there is more evidence for Santa than there is for Sphere Earth. What's interesting is if it turns out that like like if it was to go mainstream and they admitted that they did lie about all this for all that time, how do you think that some of these ballers would actually take that? Because I don't think some of them would. I think some of them would actually commit suicide because they would not rather do that than be wrong.
Yep.
Or we find out that they were paid shills like Pete here, and then what are they going to be doing?
They'll be unemployed. That'll be a start. No, but I reckon that there are some genuine ones that genuinely do believe that we live on a sphere and they're not paid shills. Yeah, there are paid shills out there, but people like Miles Elijah Davis, he's just a victim, right? He's a victim of the propaganda. I don't think he gets paid because he's crap. But then again, I think P-Mars gets paid and he's crap, so I don't really know whether that's true or not.
But Riley, I think it's okay. I mean, if they want to believe they live on, I don't care what they want to believe, but as long as they can acknowledge it's a belief, cool with me. I'm good with that.
Word, agreed.
I don't mind you having your religious view and belief. Just don't try ramming it down our throats or teaching to our kids without being told, well, there are other explanations for what we see, and this might not necessarily be the truth.
Yeah, and creating a society where if you don't believe their religion, you're not going to be eligible for employment to get the stupid money we need to survive in this stupid system, or you're going to be shunned because you don't believe in a religion. No, unacceptable. Game over.
I'm being told by Rune Thompson that I should look up scientism versus creator. Rune, I don't know if there's a creator or if this place was created all by itself. I have no idea. I have no evidence. I'm not denying a creator. I have no idea if there is one or not. I'll be happy to meet the creator if there is one, but I have no evidence right now.
There's more evidence that it's creation than everything that resulted from nothing.
I think there's a good chance that there is some kind of a creator or creators, or maybe there was a creator that created a simulation, created a simulation, but I have no evidence of that.
Hey, wait. Speaking of that, I don't know. For the people that believe in space and balls, there's a good video from a scientist that proposed the biocentrism theory, that life comes from life, that the universe comes from life rather than the other way, the Big Bang nonsense. So that's another scientific.
For me, I mean, I'm not religious at all, and I don't really like people having religions because I think they cause more damage than they cause good. I mean, for most people, they do have a better life because they've got some kind of focus. But I've got to admit that there seems to be more evidence for a creation than there is for a spinning testicle.
Well, there's a difference between subscribing to a brand of religion and having a spiritual sense. I think most normal people have some kind of spirituality, but that doesn't mean it's a huge hurdle.
Yeah, and believing that there's a creator doesn't make that creator Jesus. I mean, yes, there might be a creator, but we have no idea anything about what that creator might be. It might just be some kid in some junior high school class somewhere that created a software program. For all we know, we don't know.
Let me ask you this, though. If everybody realized that it was creation, would you lean towards the biblical explanation for creation, or would you be open to it being like intelligent design? Or is it like just default that you'd have to be like biblically religious?
I believe in creation, but I believe also that because we have a brain, a heart, a soul, our intuition, we do not need a holy book or anything to know how to behave here. And a lot of people are realizing that we're not here school 18 years, then college, then work till you're 65, then, you know, no one's here because of that. So time to just take the power back.
Yeah.
Screw the system.
Yeah, I just look at you know, the King James Bible. I mean, my family was all Masons. My dad went to Bohemian Grove, was a bank president, so I'm kind of used to these people that have been high up in the Masons. And the King James Bible is a Mason Bible. I've got it right here, the big blue. Check this out.
Isn't it funny how much abuse John gets for being what they describe as a Christian funded?
Nice one.
That's the Masonic Bible. It's the King James version, 100%. That's it. Who
I'd love
created
to have
it?
one.
They did.
Sorry, guys, I just wanted to jump back in quickly. You're talking about what Anthony just brought up, that John said yesterday about the ontological principle. You've got two choices. It's either everything came from dead, nothing matter, or it was created. I brought this up a couple of shows ago about the biblical straw man. Now, if they're lying to you about the shape of the earth, then why would you believe what they write about in books?
Exactly.
You've only got two choices. Don't follow the straw man of God. And this is why flat earth debate sometimes falls into that category where we get pulled into, oh, you believe in a dome, oh, you believe in Jesus, you're a fundamental Christian, this, that, and the other. And I always have this standpoint of, I'm not arguing from that point of view. I don't know, like, I think it was Goy brought up earlier, that I don't know who in this Jesus. I don't know if there's a God. I don't know if there even is a heaven. Outside of what I can see, outside of the air pressure that I can breathe, and outside of the fact that I don't feel any spin, I don't know anything else. All of that information is given to me.
Another shout out to Cynical Skeptic. There is now a gap on the panel. If you want to join, just click the link in the info box below the video. Please don't swear if you join.
Good.
None of the religious people have given a clear definition of what God is or is not. So, I mean, that's been how can I be a Christian, or how can I be Muslim, or how can I be Jewish, or whatever? Like, there's no universal definition.
Yeah, and because you believe in a creator doesn't mean this is the creator. It doesn't mean it. This is a very old, beautiful book. I love it. I mean, it's got mathematics, it's got astrotheology, it's some beautiful stuff, but that doesn't prove that it's literal. I mean, what was there a guy that was in a fish?
Agreed.
I mean, come on, was there a guy that was took Noah that took all these people, all these animals into an ark, and everyone survived in that? Is there any evidence that that's true? I mean, yes, there's most likely there is a creator or creators, but come on.
Years ago,
Noah had 3 sons and 1 daughter, and they repopulated the world.
The whole
gross.
planet.
Yeah, gross.
Well, you could say that about Cain and Abel, couldn't you? Adam
Yeah,
and
but
Eve
I'd rather
Cain
be a
and Abel.
monkey then.
Sure, Adam and Eve. I mean, come on, they were all living here. And then who's to say who was the good guy in the Adam and Eve story? I mean, one you have the idea of the man that, or these people that were created, and there were slaves. They had to do exactly what this God said, and then the snake comes along and tells them something else. I mean, who's true? I'm not saying who was right, who was wrong. I'm saying there's another idea.
Welcome back, Earthliner.
All religious structures are controlled, whether it comes from the Vatican or whatever. They're all controlled. It's a controlled narrative. They want you to have an opinion, and they want you to be able to pull that opinion apart. They want us to argue the toss over every single little aspect, so it all looks ridiculous. The whole idea of God looks stupid.
Right, and show up on Sunday and bring your money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are the gods. We just have to be good to each other, to Earth, and then it will be heaven on earth.
Yeah, I love a lot of the stuff that was said in the New Testament, you know, the golden rule, you know, that type of stuff. That's beautiful, but that doesn't mean there was an actual guy that walked around and did all this. I mean, but it's beautiful stuff. There's awesome stuff.
It's innate. I think that's the nature of how we find that in a family that's semi-sane. It's, you know, like, don't do these things. It's not rocket science to lay this out in a book and have people like recognize it. That's innately good.
But it's a good comparison because it is the same. You know, rocket science, it's just faith in someone's poem of you know, same as the Bible, the stories. It's all just a control system.
Yep, it's all about keeping people arguing about everything. I mean, you got your Muslims versus your Christians versus your Jews versus the confused, all these different people. So it's not just the flat Earth, but I think the flat Earth is the basis of everything. I think once we get that taken care of, then the rest will fall. But it's just huge.
I think flat Earth is like the thing that will unite the religions rather than divide them more, because it will be creation as a result of it.
Yeah, I think it will unite people as well. I think if the people knew where they were and what they were, or at least that they don't know where they are and what they are, they would just get along fine. Because like in nature, when everyone's fed, they're all happy.
Right. And it's not too hard. You know, when I was a Jehovah's Witness and I only lasted 6 months, at least the one decent thing I learned how to do is go to door and talk to people, you know, regardless of whether it was good. I talk to people everywhere I go, not just in this troll chat, which is pretty damn worthless if you ask me, but you walk out and you just talk to people at the grocery store, at the bank, everywhere that you meet people. Just ask them simple questions like, what do you think's going on with, why do you think this guy was on the space shuttle and he dropped a screw and his head popped down looking for the screw immediately? Just ask simple stuff and then plant that seed and let somebody else plant some more seeds. Don't try to convince them of everything at once. Just give them something to think about.
Agreed. What I do every day.
Planting the seeds. Like, it just makes me think of Bill Hicks when he's talking about marketing. Planting the seeds.
Yeah, I love Alex Jones.
Jones Billy.
What?
Man, that's a stretch. Whatever. I don't know.
Yeah,
Bill Hicks, Alex Jones. You know, there's quite a lot of chat and I have no evidence, but there's a lot of information that possibly the two of them might be the same guy.
They're different people.
Oh, that basically helps me to confirm that it's very possible that they're the same person, just because what Pete said.
Thanks for proving a globe, P.
You're welcome. The Earth's a sphere. I think when people realize the sphere Earth truth, all the central banks will crumble to the ground.
I notice you've got that tone
freedom and
voice again,
liberty
Mars.
will reign supreme on this
religious
planet.
assertion again, P. Religious assertions don't fly here. Have you got any evidence that the Earth's sphere, other than your religious assertion?
I'd like to make an assertion.
Yes.
Pete, is Brenda your mother?
All
you
of the evidence.
You don't come on the show.
Sorry, P. Did you say all the evidence? What?
Yeah, all the scientific method supports the sphere evidence.
That's it. Oh,
Weak
that
tone
was
voice again.
Have you made your lodge payments for this year, Pete? I know you got to get that lot. You got to get that dues card put up to date.
Did you get trained to have this 24/7 stoner voice? Is that part of your persona they like trained you with?
No, he only does that when he doesn't want to have to. When he knows we're going to kill him.
He's going to say Dave's not here any moment.
So what's the scientific evidence that's backing the ball, MP?
The scientific
the body of science.
The scientific dictatorship.
There you go, consensus.
Just noticed that P's got that dead wimpy voice again.
Sorry, what scientific evidence? Not a collective you've labelled scientific dictatorship. What's the actual evidence?
The oppression.
Look it up, man.
It's like when he says it's two people.
Thanks for that, P. Very useful.
If he says everyone, you know no one.
So do you want to do that, P? Just Google it, see that it says Earth's a sphere, and then go in peace.
Well, read about the science that tells us that why Earth
that's what we asked for, the science, and you said just look it up.
Read a book.
Yeah, read a book. You can read books too, and they talk about men in the sky and things too. So book does not mean true. Sorry, buddy.
No, according to P, it's all done and dusted, guys. We can go home. It's all been proven. We can go back to the ball. Just Google it. It's fine.
Read a book.
I read a book. Yeah, we do read books. They're books with stories. What about
anybody willing to drop for Alan B?
I'll go. If Pete's talking, I'll go. All right. Cheers. Bye bye.
The gap now, Alan. Feel free.
All right. So the only thing I wanted to add about Anthony Riley talking about creationists and it making sense to him is that, Anthony, you say that there can't be anybody on the ISS. So if you believe that, how can you, on the other hand, say creation makes sense?
Why does that correlate?
Well, it does, because you don't know what's happening in the ISS, and it stands to reason that there are people that the mainstream narrative about the ISS is correct, more correct than creation, because we don't know what's happening as far as that.
So you think that because I don't believe the people on the ISS somehow correlates to creation?
Well, you just shouldn't make those assertions because you don't know. You said there's definitely no people on there, but you can't make that assertion. And the same way, you can't make the. Well, then you
I'm
can't.
not satisfied by the evidence that we're presented that there are people on a tin can that's orbiting the spherical Earth.
Well, then so then why are you satisfied with the idea of creation? We don't have any evidence of that.
Well,
we don't know either way.
How did everything get here then?
We don't know. Shouldn't that be okay? Isn't that what we're about?
Not really. Everything's got.
It is okay. Right? It is all right. You
No,
don't
it's
think
not.
so.
Why
And
is
if
it
you
okay?
believe it, if you believe in creation, and if you're asserting it the way you are, then I just think you have a creationist agenda. Not that we've actually been created.
It's deduced logic. What else is there, right? Everything's got to.
Well,
have
why
come
are
from
we using
somewhere.
deduction? Don't we make fun of Arwen for using deduction for gravity?
Yeah, we do. But
So then what are you talking about?
How else have
What
we?
do you mean?
got
What
here?
else is there? We don't know.
How else have we?
Wait, let's
we
use
are
different.
currently in
How
a
do
deception.
humans that inhabit this Earth?
We are currently in a deception. I don't know, and that's okay.
Right, but there's only two explanations.
There is not
Either-
only two ontological. No, there's not.
Well,
because
okay,
we
let's
just
use,
don't
wait.
know.
Can we use a different term? Because I guess maybe creation is a dirty word, and some people. How about we just say life? How about we just call it
It is
life?
a dirty word. It
Why
is
is
a
it a
dirty
dirty
word.
word?
Yeah. Because it's a part of the system. It's what they. It's the options that they give you to believe.
Okay. So my suggestion is, let's say, does life? Can we say life come from nothing?
No,
Or
you
does,
can say creation. I don't care. You're just wrong.
well, it seems like.
What do you mean wrong? How do you know we're wrong?
Because
Well, we
I
don't-
know
all we do-
that
we
you
don't
don't
know.
know. I know that you're a person and that you're asserting creation through deduction, logical deduction, and that is wrong. That is wrong for gravity, and it is wrong for creation. Sorry.
Right.
There's no evidence that it's anything else.
That doesn't mean that is what it is. If you want to put your check mark on it, just like Nathan puts his check mark on the sun and what it does and what it is, that's your problem, not mine. It doesn't make it
Sounds
so.
like it's your problem, dude. I'm saying there's no evidence to support evolution, Big Bang, all this nonsense
I
that we
agree.
get taught.
I agree. Right,
There's no evidence either way.
But there are.
So
Yeah, but hang on. What are we left with if we're not left with Big
We're
Bang?
done with the same thing we are with
We're
the flat
trying
Earth.
to figure it out.
Nothing. We don't
That's what
know.
we're
Yeah,
left
but
with.
what other? I don't see any other option.
Why do we have to make assumptions?
Where
do we
did
have
the
to make
information come from?
Why do we have
We
to
need
make
to know where the
assumptions?
information come from. It had to start somewhere, didn't it? That language, those codes that are inside us had to start somewhere. There had to be a necessary antecedent.
But why do we have to care about that? We don't know. It's the same thing. Well, why do we have to
care
assume
about
this?
Yeah, I
We
care
don't
That's the
know.
point of this question,
we just
isn't
don't
it?
know.
We don't know.
I definitely care
Yeah.
about it. We just don't know, and that should.
We
be
don't know if
okay.
a 0 and 1 appeared out of nowhere. We don't know.
With that interruption, I will say first and foremost a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the debating panel for making this debate possible, and of course a massive thank you to all of the live audience for tuning in and hopefully sharing this debate. If you hated the show, then you know exactly what to do. You've probably done it already, but if you like the show, maybe consider sharing it with a friend or subscribing if you've not done so already. Oop. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
That's a troll, something.
What is
Yeah, that's the
that?
plain truth.
Who's making all that noise?
No, it's not plain truth. It's somebody else.
Oh, not me.
It's not me.
Oh, it must be Pete.
Oh, for Christ's
No,
sake.
it's the plain truth.
Booted.
Oh.
That's weird. It really was a plain truth because I kicked
Yeah.
the fake plain truth earlier.
Oh, must have been, yeah.
Well, I think that was a fake account.
So yeah, and
Yeah.
anyway, Nathan was talking over us during the show, so I'm not sure what got out.
Well, I think he was
I'm not
finishing
even
the
sure what
show.
Nathan was saying.
I just
Is that
rounded
what
out
was
as soon
happening?
as there was an interruption from that troll.
Oh no, that's too bad. Nice job stopping the show right then and there when it was getting interesting.
I'm sorry.
We'll continue it next time. No, you don't have to apologize. You do it on purpose, but that's okay.
Well, come on. I'm going to do something in another hour or so. If anybody wants to come on, I only have like 30 listeners anyway, so nobody. But if anyone wants to come, they could talk about this because I find this very interesting. I don't have any evidence of any of this stuff. It's fun.
Yeah, I know this is becoming a thing. I mean, people have these aversions to words, and I can understand that. I put it in this, does reality, let's say, does the universe come from life, or is it the other way around? I look at the natural world around me, and it seems like life comes from life. Like a man and a woman create a new life. Creation, whatever. I don't know.
Well, I hate to go there, but there really isn't any evidence outside of the fact that each one of us exists. We can look and say, oh, you exist, you exist, you exist. But the reality is, like a computer program, you have inputs. Like I only have 3 because I don't smell or taste anymore. But I have 3 inputs: sight and hearing.
You said computer program.
Yeah.
Well,
with every program, like I said, you need that code. And that code is written everywhere, but you need things to understand that language, and you need obviously both sides, the understander and the sender.
Yes.
So who wrote the code? Where did that code come from?
It doesn't matter who wrote the code. It's not evident. We don't know yet. If you're inside a computer program, how are you supposed to know who wrote the program, or if someone wrote the program, or if a program wrote the program? You don't know.
Well, I don't think the program wrote itself.
Well, it could. You have programs that can write programs.
Hang on, isn't the logical answer that the person that wrote the program, the DNA, must be the software producer, must be the game designer, must be the creator?
I don't know if there is any DNA. I don't know if there is a physical universe. There might be, but I have no evidence that
within
there
the
is.
realm of what you know. That doesn't make it right.
But what else is there, though? There is no other alternative.
Okay, well, I guess there's an alternative, like I was talking about yesterday. If we are currently in an equilibrium, we may have come from a more expanded state of disorder, and then we were brought back into our current state of equilibrium because things balanced out. If you were to take Earth and burn it all, eventually life would just figure out how to bring everything back. It would be in a huge state of disorder, but eventually something would sprout
So that means
out.
that you dismiss this extinction then?
What extinction?
If life was wiped out, it would bring it all back, like anti-extinction.
I don't think it's even possible because you can. The first law of thermodynamics states that mass can't
Energy.
be destroyed, can't be made or destroyed. So I don't think that's even possible. It may be extinct in the way we know it, but it will come back in a different way, and we are just one of those ways.
Yep, I agree.
So that's the third option. We've always been here. I don't mean like people. I mean something has always been here. Nothing. There's never more water. There's never less water. You can't make water. You can't destroy it. You can only change the way it is, whether it's water, ice, or a gas. That's all you can do. So it's always been here. It's always been here.
Definitely agree with you that the system that we are in renourishes itself. It continues. It dies. It rebirths. It lives and dies, and everything replenishes itself. It's all about cycles. You can observe these cycles everywhere in a day and over a year. They're everywhere. But does that necessarily mean that we've been here forever?
It doesn't. It means we don't know. That's my point.
We don't know.
You're claiming we're created. You're claiming either you're created or created by nature. But I think we just may have always been here. But my point is not that life is infinite. My point is that we don't know. There may be another answer.
Well, I think
you
this
have to fall into those two brackets.
This is what Socrates said.
I don't see
the only thing I know
Is
is I
that what
don't
he
know.
said? I don't read. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of funny in India. I'm not sure if it's true, but there's talk that there was radiation found in India that wouldn't be explained anything more than possibly maybe millions of years ago. There was a complete destruction of the earth from whatever we're dealing with now. We don't know. We're told, oh, with the Bible, we've only been here 7,000 years or so. However, what if we've been here millions or billions of years? And what if this Bible is millions or billions of years old and it's been modified, modified, modified? We're just told, oh, it was created in 1611. Well, we don't know. We just don't know.
Well, I mean, I think the Bible is 2,000 years old, as they say, but that was just a propaganda of the day. The Bible is just TV way back then. That's all it is.
Well, there's talk that
I'd agree
the
with that.
Hebrew tongue is
Yeah.
actually possibly from the Irish, that it was an offshoot of the Irish, original Irish language, which was every letter is based on a tree, and that the Hebrew tongue was actually the priest class. And that's why if you go into Ireland, you go up to the north, you'll find all these stones and stuff that are more ancient than the pyramids.
I like that. Cool.
Yeah, Max Egan, if anyone's familiar, he's been doing a lot of research into this common language that existed, and that's why the colonialists actually wiped out the native peoples and whatnot, as they were trying to root out that bond of a language.
Yeah, some say it was the Irish Catholic Church, not to be confused with the Roman Catholic Church, because when the Romans took over and the Normans invaded Ireland, if you even spoke one damn word of Irish, you were tortured and killed. They weren't going to tolerate it. They wanted that language gone.
Yeah, it was, and I forget, and it's rooted with something in Romanian too. I forget what Max Egan called up his research. I forget the name. I don't look into Max Egan, but there was a common language that they seem to root out and destroy that reality.
Yeah, and it even possibly explains why all those pyramids are all over the flat earth, underwater, Atlantis, in the Mayan area, the Incas, everywhere, that possibly these were these Irish Catholic priests who were, like the Pope, I guess, was a Pope king. And whether this is true or not, I don't know, because I don't know anything. But it's just very interesting to the idea that there was a peaceful time on this plane, before all this chaos happened. And maybe there's an up and down time. I don't know, but it sure is chaos now.
Check it out. Check it out. I got an offline super chat. So shout out to Retro Bill for the super chat. It says, poor Eleanor, get well soon. What about me? Anyway, thanks for the super chat, Bill. Retro Bill.
So anyway, Nathan, you don't have to apologize for ending the show like you said. I feel like you do that on purpose. Just like yesterday, while I was having a discussion with Quantum Eraser, you turned my volume down at about 49 minutes while, we were in a kind of heated discussion. So that just leads me to believe that you side with him, which clearly you do, obviously. But so where do you stand with the second law of thermodynamics? Is it a philosophy, or are you still going to follow Quantum Eraser's idea of it?
It's not a philosophy, it's a law of nature.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's all I wanted to know. You're wrong, but that's fine.
Did you think
I clearly made the point yesterday.
You think I turned you down to silence you, or just to level you up?
You did, because I sounded fine. I was perfectly fine. It was just when we started to get a little heated, you turned me down so you could hear Quantum Eraser. You can hear it on the show. That's what happened.
I'll double check, but I only level people up when they get louder.
Or you turn people down when you don't like what they're saying and then you just trample over them.
On the contrary, I want the discussion.
We can hear that on the Hangouts.
On the contrary, I want the discussion.
And you did it to me. You did it to me yesterday. Now you just did it right now.
Only if
we were trying to make a point.
Like now.
And you just ended the show.
Right.
Nathan, can you, as the host, can you adjust people's mic level or just mute them?
Yes, he can.
Of course, can.
And he has a gate. He has a gate. So when he talks, everybody else gets turned down. It's an effect.
Well, it'd be nice if you could do that to Pete.
Yeah, but I wouldn't have turned you down. I wouldn't have turned you down to
sense.
silence you, Earth Flattener, only to level you up.
I don't get where the vitriol's coming from, Earth Flattener. What's the problem?
Well, it's just annoying that I was turned down yesterday.
But it wouldn't have been to silence you. It would have just been
Everybody
to level
give
you
Earth
up.
Flattener a cuddle.
Yeah, give me a cuddle. Doesn't change anything.
No, don't be like that. No, I can understand
Okay.
it. I've been turned down in Hangouts, and yes, I've taken it personally too. But I assure you, it was.
Oh,
only
do you need
to
a hug
level
now
you up.
too? Oh.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
group
it pissed
hug.
me off royally. But I don't turn people down other than to get them level. The only exception, and I do mean once, was Rumpus. I just had enough of him. I just turned him right down. But that was to silence him. It was once. Other than that, all I do is watch all show is watch the levels dancing up and down and try and get them to match. That's it.
Okay. Well, nice job cornering me into this vitriol about me needing a group hug, but the actual problem here is the law of thermodynamics, and that you believe it stands as a law, even though it was created by man with an agenda, and you can see it when you read about it, when you try to read about it.
Well, not everything that man observes and names.
I'm not talking about everything with man. I'm talking about the second law of
No,
thermodynamics.
but you just claimed
and
that
the first one.
That it was created by man.
Well, yeah.
But it's.
But right now we're talking about the second law of thermodynamics.
So when you
Wait a minute, Eric. You have a problem with people using the word society. So now you're holding this against me? What is that?
No. I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm saying that you said that it was the law of thermodynamics was created by man.
Yeah. So let's break it down.
Right.
Why don't we try
Entropy.
to break it down?
Hot flows to cold, high pressure to low pressure.
Yes. That's not my problem with it. My
That's what
problem
it defines.
is that Quantum Eraser thinks that it leads to creation. It is proof of creation, and it's not. We went through this yesterday.
How do you have an object? How do you have a system, an ecosystem that gradually is in a state of decay continuously?
It is not in a state of decay.
It is.
We went through this yesterday. And Nathan.
Hold on. I want to hear Earth Flattener. Sorry.
We went through this yesterday. Nathan repeated it twice, so the people that wanted to understand it understood. So why are we going through this again?
Well, maybe I don't understand, so maybe you should repeat yourself.
Well, what do you need to know?
Your point.
I'd like to know. Listen, I'm on neither side. I wasn't there yesterday, so I'm asking you, how do you see it as only something created by man and not something that just is existing in nature?
Well, you're talking about something different now. What are you talking about? Creation?
No. I'm trying to back up. You said that the law of thermodynamics is just something that was made by man.
Yeah, it was. It was made by a guy in 1896, and it was to see how Earth decays. It was made specifically as a bird's eye view of Earth to see how everything on Earth decays. And now, ironically, they're using it for us to make us pay for the air we breathe. So clearly it had an agenda. Because that's how they say, like, our carbon footprint, it's based on this. But you can look this up.
Okay. I think the whole issue, things are, and Anthony just said an ecosystem, what'd you say, decays or
right.
Well,
decays.
I don't think there's such a thing as an ecosystem in total absolute decay. I think maybe what we're accustomed to seeing is decaying, but I'm quite certain that there's other things being composted, for example, and
exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, is there such a thing as a given ecosystem that is in just pure absolute decay and that's it, full stop?
No, I don't think so. You can't destroy or make energy or matter according to the first law of thermodynamics. And then in the second law of thermodynamics, it contradicts it by stating that everything is in a state of entropy. It doesn't make sense.
Good point.
And I can't believe Nathan just stands by it as if it's a part of nature, even though he has to put his check mark on the sun.
Not at all.
Even though he doesn't know what the sun is.
What do you mean? That's not what I stated. Hold on. That's a misrepresentation. I said I'd put my check mark next to the second law and the first law. An object remains at rest unless an action's applied to it. What's wrong with that?
Right.
I don't
have a problem with that part.
Okay.
I said that yesterday. My problem, you explained what I said twice to Quantum Eraser, even though he wasn't getting it.
No, I get what you're saying. The problem is that what science is detailing is the physical and natural world. And in their narrative, the sun is physical. I get it. But that doesn't mean I assert anything about the sun. And you're saying, well, you put your stamp by the sun. No, not at all. What I was trying to detail was that when we pick apart their narrative about the sun using the second law, it shows that within their narrative, the sun it defies the second law. But that's only based on their narrative with it being a physical thing.
And that's excellent. Am I muted? I don't know if I'm muted. Okay.
No.
That's excellent. But the problem is that you use it, or Quantum Eraser uses it, to peddle his creation idea. And that's the problem.
I don't do that. I don't know what you're claiming. I have plenty of. Hold on, let me just reply to that. I had plenty of discussions with John.
Wait, hold on. You said that you believe there's a creator because it was proven to you by Quantum Eraser.
No. That's not what I said. I said I believe there is ipso facto a creation because you can't get everything from nothing.
Creation?
Yeah, not creator. I take the exact same line that Vegan Goy takes on this subject. I can't possibly know. Now, Quantum Eraser can extract that there's a creator because we are created. Oh God. Okay. You're clearly triggered. I'm not allowed to address anything you say, Flattener. You just seem like you want to talk over me continually for some reason, rather than let me actually assert my position, which you've misrepresented twice. So I have never asserted there is a creator. I only assert in recent days that there is a creation. Now, John can draw the logical conclusion that if there's a creation, there must be a creator. I don't draw that conclusion.
If you're playing science versus scientism, and then I ask you, okay, so now you believe in a creator, and you say, yeah, it's been proven to me. Yeah, I do believe it. And in the last interview with that chick that was probably doing her nails, you told her the same thing.
No, I did not. Go and listen again.
You can say something different
I
now,
said,
but that's
I
what
said
happened.
creation, not creator.
All right, that's fine. Okay, so now we go back to the second law of thermodynamics, where you're saying that the sun is somehow part of nature. Is that what you're saying?
Obviously. It's obviously part of nature. I'm saying it's not physical. It's just what they disclaim it's physical in their narrative for the ball Earth.
Right, but not Quantum Eraser. Quantum Eraser uses
I'm not
it to
Quantum
peddle his
Eraser.
agenda of
I'm not
creation.
John. I'm not John.
Well, clearly you're in allegiance with him.
Oh, right. So that's why we row about there being a god. Sorry, you're misrepresenting me. It's really irritating. When I argue this point with John.
You should be irritated because I'm irritated.
Oh, well,
this is irritating.
There's no need to be. You're misrepresenting me and I'm not getting irritated. You keep saying that I assert there's a god, and I don't.
You said I'm getting really irritated.
Yeah, you are.
All right, go ahead.
I don't assert there's a god.
I'm not saying God. I'm saying creator, and now you're saying creation.
Yeah. You've only got two ontological primitives. You've
No,
only
you
got
don't.
those two.
No, you don't.
Okay.
You have those two
Yeah, you do.
when you take the second law of thermodynamics as gospel. That's the only way. If you throw that away, then you have a third option, which is we may have been here forever, but we don't know.
No problem.
We don't know.
Do you believe in speak and let's speak, Flatner? Please speak and let's speak, brother. Don't
All
interrupt
I need to
every
see,
single word, man.
all I need to see is something defy the second law. If you can show me that, I'll relinquish it immediately.
Why would you relinquish it? Why do you have to hold on to it if you don't know?
Because it makes total sense based on everything I see ever. Hot does flow too cold. High pressure does flow too low pressure. We do see entropy.
Right, and a block of wood burns into a cinder, gas is released, and entropy is happening. It will never be that state again. If you believe this is happening in our natural world, you have to apply that to the sun, but we don't know that. The piece of wood burns and it burns plants, but the sun doesn't do that. The sun does the exact opposite, so obviously it's something different. The mainstream consensus will say that it's helium and hydrogen burning, creating photosynthesis, but we can't know that.
I agree. Totally agree. I have no idea what the sun is. No idea whatsoever.
Well, but you're saying that the sun is a natural thing according to the law of the thermodynamics, like that block of wood that is going through
No,
entropy.
that's a misrepresentation.
Well, if you believe that the law of thermodynamics is sound, then you have to believe that, because that's the point of the second law, that everything is breaking apart, including the sun, including the solar system, and eventually it will all die. You have to believe this if you believe in the second law.
Yeah, in the physical and natural world.
The sun is not natural.
Oh, sorry, is the sun physical?
What?
Is the sun categorizable by science? And the science that we are talking about specifically deals with the physical and natural world. I know the sun's natural, I've conceded that. Now I'm asking you for the other bit. Is the sun physical, as asserted by globeheads when we pick it apart?
We don't know what the sun is.
Oh, that's what I said.
I think everyone agrees with that.
But according to the second law of thermodynamics, you have to believe that the sun is as physical as a block of wood and that eventually it's going to burn out.
Sorry, that's
just
not
like the rest of the
no,
universe.
No. That's not the physics.
Yes.
The second law doesn't refer specifically to the sun.
It refers to everything. Everything
Hold
according
on,
to the
we're
second
going
law
round
of
in circles.
thermodynamics.
Physical and natural.
Right.
Right, as opposed to the metaphysical and supernatural. Well, is the sun physical?
It depends on who you ask. I don't know
Right,
what you
who
believe.
cares who is asked? I'm not asking for a consensus. We've already had the answer. We don't know. So how can we possibly say, how can we attribute scientific terms to it if we don't know what the hell it is? We don't know. And I'm happy to concede that, but in their world, it's physical. So must comply with the second law. Must, in their model. That's what we pull apart. But I make no assertions about what the sun is. And I don't deny that everything that the second law states is true, because it is.
And the second law of thermodynamics includes the sun and the stars being planets as they believe.
Sorry, you're doing it again. You're misrepresenting my position.
I'm
and
gonna keep
substituting.
doing it.
You're misrepresenting me again.
The argument.
Again, are the
keep
planets
deflecting the
physical?
argument.
Am
Right, you
I
already said it.
asserting that the planets are physical and the sun is physical? No.
No.
They
you're not.
do, and we rip that apart based on
Exactly,
the
yes.
second law. That doesn't mean I suddenly take a position about what the planets are, or what the sun is, or what the stars are. I have no idea. But I can still rip their nonsense apart based on its defiance of their own scientific laws, called scientific laws by them. Not me. I call them laws of nature, not scientific. But when we're going through their narrative, we can rip that apart based on its non-physicality.
But the problem with your argument is that you're deflecting it toward the ballers because you say that we use the second law of thermodynamics to crush their beliefs. But what I'm trying to do is crush the creationists' belief because Quantum Eraser and company, not you apparently, are using the second law of thermodynamics as proof of creation. You keep deflecting this.
No, it's saying that when you look at the evidence, one of the things that stands out quite significantly is the everything from nothing, which makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever and defies the second law of thermodynamics. Yes, that's not my sole reason, but if I had to pick the two, would I pick the everything from nothing when I've never ever seen that demonstrated or experienced ever? Or... Well, this is the two that you deny. I say they're ontological primitives. You say no.
Okay. So you say everything from nothing. You say either that or everything is created. But I say a smaller thing from a bigger thing. Like, for instance, water evaporates. It becomes a cloud. It becomes in a higher state of entropy, in a higher disorder. But eventually it comes down and becomes water again. So it comes back from its entropic state, its higher state of disorder. So that's what I think is happening, could be an option. So you're saying something comes from nothing, but I'm saying something comes from everything.
It's a good point. You know, one other thing is if you believe, if someone was
Wait,
to
don't
believe
give
in
them a chance to think.
Okay. Well,
No, I accept what you say. I'm listening intently.
Okay. So what do you have to say about it? Because this is new to me too.
I mean, what do you want me to say? I see it as an either-or option. You're saying there's a third choice, which is something small to something big. Where did the something small come from?
The something bigger.
Oh, so
okay,
that's everything from nothing then. That fits under one of those categories, and any example given will fall under the two. So far, so good. I've tried it, and they always fall into one of the two categories.
Okay, everything as we know it is a puzzle in a box.
No.
Okay, everything is, just as an example, everything as we know it is a puzzle in a box in pieces.
Okay.
Our state of equilibrium will take those pieces out eventually, put them on a table, and make the puzzle whole.
The same problem
There will
occurs.
be some crazy kid that will come and trash the entire thing except for two little pieces. And life will just put it all back together again because all the pieces are there.
No
Nothing
problem.
can be created, according to the first law of thermodynamics, created or destroyed.
Really?
So
Where
it's
did the
always gonna
box
be
come
there.
from? Where did the box come from?
What?
Where did the box with all the
That's
puzzle
not the
pieces come
point.
from?
That's not my point.
Oh, really?
That's not
Well,
my-
that's
that
the
was
point
not my
we're talking about, where it all began. So if you're going to say there's just a box, so you've created that box from nothing, right?
No. No,
Oh,
I
right. Where
haven't.
did the box come
It's
from
just-
then?
We just don't know.
Sorry. Oh,
I'm
we
saying
just
we
don't
just
know.
don't know.
Or there's two choices. Either the box was
there's not.
created
No,
by
there's
you in
not.
this instance. You created the box. You conjured it into existence. Or it came from nowhere. Those are your two choices. By saying there's a box, by conjuring a
in the
box,
second
just
law
let me
of
have my reply. God, I've listened to your stupid waffle for long enough. Right,
All right,
the box
yeah, that's
doesn't
fine.
just magic itself into existence. Somebody put it there.
Okay.
Or,
All right.
oh right, you're going to talk
Where
all
did
over
the
me because you're
fire
triggered
come
about this.
from?
The box and where it came from is the point. So if the box came from nowhere, it came from nothing. If you put the box there, you put it there. Those are your only two bloody choices. You
Yeah,
don't have to like
where-
it. Don't just say there's a box, because that box had to come from somewhere, didn't it?
Where did the one who created the box come from?
Oh, God. Wait,
Oh,
wait,
that's
guys,
another exact same example. Who created the creator's creator? Well, you've got two choices, shockingly. Either that came from nothing, or a creator created it. Now, I'm not going to assert that that's a man with a beard.
But who
Why am I
created the
getting
first
talked over
creator?
constantly? What's the issue here? Am I not allowed to express this opinion? Is it too troubling?
Stop shouting.
Why, I have a stupid question.
I just want
Why
a
are you
gap
guys
to
arguing
express my
over-
actual opinion,
over-
having listened to Earth Flattener for the last 3 minutes. So,
I don't know why
your
we're
example.
arguing something that is based
I give
on
up.
linear
I-
time.
Okay,
Why are
so
we
that
arguing over linear-
I described.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!